into questions. And we've started the recording, Jane.
Yeah.
Okay, prynawn da pawb, croeso, hello and welcome to everybody. Just a reminder, we are in the Aspirational Scrutiny Committee and it is Monday the 2nd of February. We're out of that long January, we're into February, fortunately, 2026. Okay. I've reminded you all that we are recording. Remember that this is usually for internal use only, but may be used for training as well. And I'll move straight into the agenda item. Are there any apologies of absence?
Yeah, from Councillor Michelle Jones.
Michelle Jones, okay. They are noted. And are there any declarations of interest in relation to today's report? No? Okay. And so we move straight into agenda item number 3. Today's scrutiny committee is what we call a special scrutiny committee, really, and that is to look at the draft revenue budget report 2026-2027. To take us through that report, our Cabinet Member Anna Williams-Price is joining us. Of course, we have our regular Cabinet Member Gareth Lewis with us as well, as well as our officer Craig Flynn, who's the Director, who's also joining us, and Sue is online. There she is, I can see her. Okay, so we'll immediately go into the report, if that's okay with everybody then. Gareth, you or Anna?
Anna.
Present it. Okay, Anna, straight over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to present an update on the draft revenue budget for 26-27, which reflects both progress and ongoing challenges in achieving financial sustainability for Merthyr Tydfil. This report provides an update from our previously reported position to Council in autumn 2025. Firstly, the funding position has improved significantly, with the revised Welsh Government settlement providing a 4.7% increase, which is a welcome improvement from the original 3.1% provisional increase. Secondly, despite this positive settlement, we do continue to face unavoidable cost pressures. Additional demands total nearly 3.96 million and are detailed in Appendix 4, which include education pressures, including additional learning needs and transport, waste recycling obligations and capital financing costs. Thirdly, we have identified cost reductions of circa 3.58 million to offset these pressures, and these are detailed in Appendix 5. These include grant maximisation in social services and operational efficiencies across education and neighbourhood services. While these measures protect frontline services, reliance on temporary solutions continue to underline the need for transformation. Overall, and as a result of these changes, the projected budget deficit for 26-27 has been reduced from 9.005 million to 509,000. This is based on a medium-term financial plan forecast for council tax, which assumes a 5% increase, and with every 1% change to council tax, an impact of the budget of approximately £330,000. This update also provides details of the budget consultation work, which sought residents' views on their priority services and on council tax. The current position demonstrates strong progress while acknowledging ongoing financial pressures, and our priority remains protecting essential services, supporting education and safeguarding the most vulnerable. The final Welsh Government budget has now been approved, and although there are some changes which due to timing are not reflected in this report, none of those significantly change or alter this update and our current direction of travel. For information, each committee will have the opportunity to review this report, in addition to a joint scrutiny and governance and audit session ahead of the special budget meeting on the 23rd of February. And so I welcome any input from the committee, which will be considered as we work to set a balanced budget for 26-27. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Anna. Craig, did you want to add anything?
Not at this stage, Chair.
Okay, no problem at all. Okay, colleagues, I'm going to open it up for questions first of all, and then we'll go on to any comments, observations or recommendations. So any questions first of all? Everybody's got to say that. Rob, have you got a question?
Yes, in a general sort of context, noting what you were saying about no updates as of the minute, I noticed that the council leader made a public online statement the other day saying that educational schools budgets were protected. So I'm asking what exactly does that mean? Because under the table for the cost pressures, there's significant possibilities for the coming financial year of impact on the education and schools budgets.
Okay. So undoubtedly in the appendices, I think there Rob is referring to, it talks, it takes us through that timeline when we talk about pressures. So did you want to, as the leader did, just explain that the budget has been protected for a certain period of the budget term?
Yeah, thanks. So as outlined in 5.22 of the report, meetings have been held with the school budget forum, and they've been advised that no additional savings from schools budget are being included in the budget proposals for 26-27, which follows on from a similar commitment in 25-26. With regards to additional demands listed for education, those are demands that we will obviously take forward as we set the budget for 26-27. So that's a figure that the service is required from the budget and will be met, essentially.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob.
Thanks.
Any other questions, Rob?
Yes, I think you've covered this already, because obviously this report came out before the Welsh Government, the Senate actually approved the revised Welsh Government budget. So are we right to assume that everything is in order, as you've said, and that we're on that, still on the right direction of travel?
Yes, so we've received confirmation of our final settlement, which is the 4.7% increase listed in this report. There's a slight adjustment to the actual figure due to confirmation of the council tax base, but it's not significant.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Anna. Karen.
Thank you, Lisa. Paragraph 5.21 says that the draft budget proposal does not provide the funding required to fully support the school funding formula. Can you just unpick that for me a bit, please?
I can answer that, Chair.
Yeah.
What that paragraph is referring to, Karen, is with regards to the historic efficiency savings that the schools have had to deliver. The financial position of the local authority means that we're not in a position to unwind those efficiency savings, so they still remain. But there's no additional the efficiency savings required going forward into 26-27 as a proposal.
So am I right then? I mean, as you rightly say there, the pressure is on school governing bodies to sort of make tough decisions. So in a way, there are cuts to individual school budgets.
Those efficiency savings are still applicable at the historic, so they are still to be achieved by the governing bodies in order to balance their budgets going forward, yes.
Okay, and my last point then, if the governing bodies of individual schools can't deliver a budget, what happens then?
Sue, do you want to come in there? Or?
Yeah, as you know, as you're aware, Karen, there's quite a robust process in place. We categorise our schools, and if schools cannot balance the budget, we ask that the governing body puts in place a plan that shows a planned licence deficit over a number of years, which then Craig and myself look at and approve, or otherwise we may ask some questions as to what can you do more, what can be done, but it's up for the governing body to actually provide us with a plan that shows how they're going to meet that deficit over a number of years.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you all. Okay, bear with me. Clive's coming in next, and then I'll come to you.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Clive?
Oh, yes. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, there's only two questions, really. I noticed in Appendix 5, there's a reduction in money of children educated at home, really. I wondered why there was such a big reduction and what the money is spent on, really, if they're electively being taught at home.
Sue, do you want to come in on that one?
Yes, yeah. The elective home education grant is a grant that actually comes from Welsh Government. So children that are being educated at home don't receive any monies themselves. It actually pays for our staff.
Oh, right. So
Okay, so
why
it's a
was
grant.
there a reduction this year? It seemed
It would
quite a
have
big.
been. It's a reduction from Welsh Government from the grant that's actually come through.
Oh, right, you are there. The other thing was, I noticed in the budget there was a £12,000 loss on Treveccan Nursery and Ysgol School. Of course, they're up for auction at the moment, so hopefully there'll be no cost next year. But why do they spend £12,000 a year on two empty buildings?
Security. We've got to make sure that there's security on those. So we have checks to make sure that there's no damage and no vandalism around those. Because we did, if you remember, Clive, when Ysgol first closed, we did have significant vandalism on the site.
Yes, yeah. Oh, so we send a private security firm in to check.
Yeah.
Ah, right, you are then. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Clive. Sue, can I just come back on Clive's first question? Because obviously we recently had a report on those educated other than school at home, etc. So that reduction in the grant from Welsh Government, does that impact us greatly,
No.
or no? Okay.
If our numbers increase, yes, because we need more officers. But at the moment, we are just about breaking even on it.
Okay, thank you, Sue.
Can I just?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's a point of clarification. It's what we're proposing with regards to elective home tuition is that we're going to maximise the use of grant to reduce the actual net cost of delivering that service.
Right.
So it's not impacting on service delivery.
Yeah.
It's using alternative funding to support that.
To provide it, yeah. Okay, thank you, Craig. Thanks. Okay, Hannah.
Hi, I'm just wondering how many schools are going to be in deficit budgets going forward for this academic year? Because obviously there's a certain amount already in deficit, but how many more are going to be in deficit?
For 26-27.
Yeah, we wouldn't know that as yet, Hannah. We're working with the schools at the moment. They haven't had their final budget. I'm going to say I don't think they've had their final budget figures. So we are working with them at the moment. So obviously they've all done their MTFPs, but that will come to scrutiny. It usually comes at the beginning of it came in July this year, didn't it, Lisa? I think. You'll know in July. But we are working through with the head teachers and finance committees now.
Right, because usually this time of year we start looking at redundancy situations based on deficit budgets. So how many schools are going to be in a redundancy situation? Because obviously the budget situation isn't wonderful.
I really don't know, Hannah. I said, they are actually looking. They're engaging with HR at the moment. But I wouldn't like to put a definitive number on it at the moment.
It's just
I can find out for you and I can get back to you.
If you could, it'd be really good, because across the whole of Wales, the figures are becoming exceptionally high, and we're noticing already that the numbers are coming in, and it's in some authority, you're talking about 20 to 25 job losses because of redundancies and deficit budgets.
Okay. Anthony's on leave. I'll get back to you as soon as he's back in.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. And then on that, we'll note, just as we normally do within the annual cycle, that we'll have that report then, if we can, July, if not early September. Jane, as far as our forward work programme is concerned, Han. Any additional questions?
Not at the minute, no.
Okay. Any other questions? Rob?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Supplementary to my earlier question. Does the undertaking that school budgets and education budgets is protected, does that square with the situation? And I think this has been the case for this ongoing financial year, where there wasn't any overall cut, but school budgets have still reduced, jobs have been lost, and a lot of a good deal of cutbacks in financial terms, and I seem to recall that was we're talking about more than 25 jobs. And also in funding terms, it was quite a substantial amount as well. I don't know if so. I'm still not sure how this use of language squares with itself. On the one hand, protected. On the other hand, the schools cuts.
Okay.
And it concerns me.
Yeah.
Because my concern is, as always, that claims are being made that are not really being fulfilled.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, officers can come in a second regarding actual figures. Or Sue, do you want to come in anyway? I was just going to explain on the reflection and then looking forward.
Right. Whilst there's protected schools budgets. Schools budgets are actually based on pupil numbers, and what we're finding certainly in our primary sector is that those pupil numbers are going down, which means that the school has less money to use on staff, and in some schools that has made a significant difference to a member of staff, a member of whether it's a teaching staff or learning. So there are other things. Whilst we say that the budget has been protected, there are the schools budgets do vary on year, depending on the school, on the number of pupils in the school, and that can impact. So if you had a good year last year, but then you've lost children in the year, you have Craig, I can't think of the word. You have retrospective money's taken from you, or given to you if the school is lucky enough to have more pupils. But it can affect. It's not as simple as saying this is the school budget and you have the same year on year, because it hasn't been cut. It depends on pupil numbers. You've got utility bills. You've got there's all sorts of factors that are taken into it, Rob, and that's why it may seem that although we've protected budgets, schools have still got to make redundancies because of those other factors.
Just a sort of comeback, but my sort of question is, why say school budgets are protected when in actual fact how people will see that is that what we do is that in fact they're open to cuts, which are just being called efficiency cuts. So I think we understand how the system works, but if it's put forward as school budgets are protected, but people out there, and myself coming into the school community, we don't understand that.
Yeah. So just to explain in layman's terms, Rob, just to help. So as an administration, the administration has put forward a protected budget for 26-27. So they haven't said that there would be any efficiency savings in there per se. And they did the same in 25-26. So last year for that budget. What Sue is explaining, that sometimes that even though that is protected, so the purse that's given is protected in layman's terms, if that makes sense. But what then happens is there are some unintended consequences for our schools, and the makeup of our schools are very different. One could have really heavy utility bills, one could have really low roll numbers coming on board for this year, and so the number of pupils that they take in impacts the amount of financial monies that they actually get then. And we'll have that in a report in Scrutiny, far more detailed and in layman's terms to be able to understand. So we have a view of all of our schools, secondary, PRU, special, primaries, etc. And then it does give us a view of their budgets, if they're going into deficit budget and why. And as Sue has sort of given you some information. It could be a number of different factors. So even though the purse from the administration from council, and you know, if everybody votes on that, because I can't preempt that, but if everybody predetermined, if everybody votes as protected, there's the purse, but there is some unintended consequences on that, and we'll get that report in due course, which will explain why perhaps, and this isn't the case, so I'll just give an example, why perhaps Ysgol y Graig is now suddenly in a deficit and wasn't, or perhaps Ynys Owen suddenly is and wasn't, and Cyfarth are alike, you know. So it gives us a bigger picture for Joe public to understand, because it is a minefield. I think we all agree when we come to finance and budgets and numbers, but I'll bring Anna then. Sorry, Anna, I didn't see you.
Thanks, and I totally understand that view, and I think the point is, which we're trying to make, and from a political perspective, is we do understand the challenging financial picture the schools have experienced over the last couple of years, and also the increasing pressure on schools in terms of the demand they're seeing with additional learning needs, etc. And an increasingly complex picture in which they need to deliver a high quality education, because I think that's what all our schools are trying to do. So they have seen cuts in previous years. Now we're in a position where we don't have to make or ask for any additional savings from the school's budget. We haven't done so this year. We won't be doing so next year. So I appreciate that doesn't mean that schools have no problems in terms of the budget at all. It's still a challenging picture, but we don't want to exacerbate that by asking for further cuts. So we will protect and support the school's budget as much as practicable.
I appreciate that you know, the replies, the responses I've had have been detailed and they explain, and I understand the position. But the question I'm asking is, don't you agree that it's misleading to say school budgets are protected when, you know, perhaps every governor, every head in all schools are saying, hang on a minute, we're making cuts and losing staff. That's not how. You see, that's the difficulty that I can overcome it, but I think you explained the situation in detail. But as you said, the Mr. and Mrs. Public and their children, they will misunderstand what you're saying. That's my concern.
I think if I may come in there, Karen wants to come in as well, but I think, Rob, it is down to perception. I think you're right in that respect, but I think wholly the message is correct from the administration that they are protecting the budget. And I think any of our schools or head teachers would know that, as the Cabinet members alluded to as well, within the schools budget forum that is discussed. So that messaging will be there, but they understand that either because of previous years or because of some of those unintended previous year's efficiency savings and cuts, or because of the unintended consequences, they are still facing difficult times. But I think the overall message will be accepted and appreciated as it stands from a council 2026 budget perspective. Yeah.
Just to explain further, Robert, prior to 25-26 savings, not every year admittedly, but for some years savings were made specifically from the school's budget. Those savings are still being carried forward. So although we are protecting the budget for the forthcoming financial year, cuts from previous years haven't been reversed.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't bring Karen in, Rob, is that okay? Karen.
Thanks, Lisa. I just wanted to ask, how confident are you as an authority that you'll be able to meet your priorities, particularly of supporting schools to drive up standards with the focus on literacy and numeracy, faced with these really tough financial efficiencies and decisions that governing bodies and yourselves have got to make?
Who wants to answer that?
Go on, Alt. I think it's something that we are working with the schools with, Karen. There is there is specific funding, there's specific professional learning that comes from Welsh Government, which schools don't have to sort of contribute to. There's also the support that actually comes from Central South, which the schools don't have to support to, don't have to contribute to. So that sort of support and that sort of ongoing professional learning for the teachers to be able to implement high quality lessons and look at the opportunities for the children, that doesn't go, because that is funded elsewhere. It's not funded through the local authority, so the opportunities are still there to actually drive that aspect through and to support teachers in raising standards.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you both. Okay, colleagues, are there any other questions? Hannah?
Just one point of observation and one question, and I think when you look at standards, it's not just about the standards of teaching and learning, it's about the resources and the quality of resources in them classrooms to sort of facilitate the learning environment. So it is the basics of the textbooks, the photocopying, art equipment, whatever's needed, the practical side of things like science, the amount of equipment that's needed and resources to actually run experiments. That's going to be impacted. So I would appreciate if we could have a discussion about that going forward, because them things will impact the teaching and learning and ultimately will affect the learners in the long run. Even with protected budgets in place, the children will miss out, and I think that's what we need to look at as well. My question is on Appendix 5, it's the top one. It talks about facilities time, and it says reduced budget requirement due to current cost of trade union, in brackets NEU representative. I'm just wondering, what does that mean, and why is it only the NEU? Well, there's Unison, GMB, Unite and NAS, which are all involved in education. So are all of their facilities times impacted, or is it just one trade union? I'm just wondering what does it actually mean?
The trade union provision is based on the actual delivery, so this is just reflecting the reduced cost for the NEU specifically, so there's no impact then on equity that was be treated. It's specific just around the NEU cost delivery and the trade union support in schools.
So there is less facilities time for them, or?
It's based on the actual delivery time now, but it's a less cost rather than what's in the actual budget.
Okay.
Okay, Han?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Colleagues, any other questions? No? Okay. Any comments or observations or recommendations then for our colleagues while we're here? No? Okay. So just to sum up, obviously we've discussed our sort of element of the budget that's been presented to us today. By that I mean education, obviously. And we've got some recommendations from us as Scrutiny really to pick up on those discussions in the future around standards, but standards meaning resources, and also with regards to our actual schools budget specifically. And we have that, as I said, annually, but we'll get that, as I said, in either July or early September. And then supporting that, some detail around perhaps the picture of each of our schools, so that we can understand, you know, if they are facing a deficit budget, the whys and what for, so the overall picture in that. Okay, on that note then, can I just thank our officers for joining us, Sue and Craig, really appreciate it, and to Anna and Gareth as always, he's always with us, bless him, but to Anna for joining us as well today, we really appreciate it. Item number 4 for today's meeting was any other business deemed urgent by myself. I'm going to look to my right-hand man, left-hand man, person, woman, Jane. No. So here I did. And Gareth was in shock then, thinking, what am I going to ask him? I have no urgent business. So thank you so much for joining us for this special budget aspirational committee meeting today. Thanks everybody, and take care. I shall see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome, Rob. Thank you for coming in.
That's the quickest meeting we've ever.
I think that's the quickest. That's 33 minutes. That has got to be the quickest aspirational.
I'm shocked. If it helps, then that's the best budget scrutiny I've had so far.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
That's what it was. It's not on the committee.